Hey everyone, I'm Aaron. That's my identical twin brother Adam. You're in a baseball brouhaha, which means coffee and a daily baseball trivia fracas. Adam, I know you got a trivia question on deck. What do we got today?
We're looking at home runs. Our question is, what is the largest home run to runs allowed differential in any 10-game span? And so this one's inspired by the Tampa Bay Rays, who are hitting a ton of home runs and not giving up very many runs. So this one from the 3-0 Take podcast here highlights that they've hit 25 home runs through their first 10 games. While hitting those 25 home runs, they gave up only a total of 18 runs. So we're trying to figure out what's the largest differential here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this isn't to start a season, just period. So,
yeah, just any 10-game span, because this, what the Rays have done in the first 10 games to start a season never happened before.
mm-hmm.
So here's our question. What is the best home runs allowed differential in a 10-game span? You got +7, +9, +11, or +13.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't really have a context for this. Hadn't really thought about this stat. I mean, obviously, it's a high-powered offense with a great pitching staff, but there've been a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I said 11 because I don't know. Let's go 11. I like how these are. I love the odd numbers that we stayed with here. The consistency. I can take solace in that. I'm going to say 11.
Okay, and I went with 7. I went on the low end of this one because it's, hitting home runs is not an easy thing to do. And hitting more home runs than runs allowed, that's kind of wild for that number of games too. So I went on the low end here. Well, let's take a look. What do we got? The correct answer is 11.
11. I love my 25% chance. Roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's win. This roll of the dice, I tell you what, this is not how the Tampa Bay Rays win game right now.
That's for sure.
It's not the equation.
But they're not +11. They've actually extended this. They're at 12 games at the making of this. They're 12-0. They've hit 29 home runs, given up 27 runs. So other teams are catching up here a little bit. But this record was set by the White Sox 2020. They hit 32 home runs and gave up only 21 runs in a 10-game span. 70 to 21 run differential.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they had, that was peak Rodon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, but looking some more at the 2023 Rays here. So Ken Rosenthal did a little piece from The Athletic here that highlights, why were the Rays 9-0 at the time, now 12-0. Talking about the schedule. Their first 3 series were against probably the 3 worst teams in all of baseball.
Yeah.
The Tigers, Nationals, and A's.
Yeah.
And then that at the bottom of this article, this little piece here, they're on pace for 432 home runs. That would be a record.
That would shatter the old record, 307, set by the 2019 Twins.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so I found some rare footage of opposing pitchers who are pitching to the Rays and watching them hit home runs.
Okay.
So
here we go.
Hey, is that a home run? Yeah. Hey, is that a home run? Yeah. Hey, is that a home run? Yeah. Hey, is that a home run?
There it is. The Rays hitting home runs and the pitchers. There's another one.
Yeah, one of the interesting stats that I found about this was that they won their first 9 games by 4 runs or more. And in any 9 or more game winning streak, that hadn't been done since 1884 when the pitcher's mound was still a mere 50 feet from home plate.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, you may be wondering how helpful is a 10-game span with a home run differential more than runs. This is very helpful. Outcomes are good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
This has happened to 21 different teams. Every team who did this finished at least 12 games over 500 or would have in a full season. A couple of them did it in 2020.
Yeah.
And only 4 teams didn't make the playoffs. 12 of these teams made it to at least the League Championship Series, 7 World Series appearances, 3 World Series champions.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense though, because that home run to runs allowed is really you're kind of at the end of the day you're looking at run differential, and so if you're not giving up a lot of runs, chances are you're a playoff team. So I looked at this from a little bit different angle. I was looking at run differential over baseball history. Over the course of a season, so not specifically home runs to runs allowed, but interestingly, they're in the top 30 occurrences of like the top 30 seasons with biggest run differential. Only 3 of those have happened since 1940. And so that's 2022 Dodgers, 98 Yankees, 2001 Mariners. 2001 Mariners, interestingly, won 116 games and only hit 169 home runs over the course of the year. But to your point, almost every one of these teams that were at near the top of this list won the World Series. I mean, let alone making it to it. Many of them won the World Series, with the exception of a few here and there. The number one season, largest run differential, 1884. We already talked about 1884. The St. Louis Maroons.
Yeah.
458 runs.
The Rays are chasing after the Maroons.
Chasing the Maroons.
Another team that's sort of like the modern day Maroons, the Houston Astros, who made it to a bunch of LCS and World Series recently. They have done this the most. So streaks of 10 games or more with a positive home runs allowed differential. They've had 5 of these streaks. 2 of them came in one season at different times. In 2022, they've of course won the World Series. The others came in 2005, 1921. They made a World Series appearance all of those years. They won, of course, last year.
Yep.
And they tied for the highest ever run differential in this 10-game streak with 60 plus 60, and are hitting home runs, hitting lots of home runs. In fact, they're hitting.
Look at this. Home run after home run after home run. And
that's what it is.
Yep. That's what it is. So, yeah, I was looking at Houston, and I mean, they've been good for a while here now. But the thing that I was looking at is that it's not always been so for the Houston franchise. Okay, so this is one thing as baseball fans is you have to keep a bit of humility in terms of, enjoy the high times, but know where your team came from. So in 2011, teams are hitting a lot of home runs, right? Not the Houston Astros, who hit 96.
Oh boy!
In the entire season. For comparison, the Houston Astros of 2020, who are is in the middle of a great stretch of baseball, hit 69 in 60 games. So it's not always sunshine and rainbows. That same 2011 Houston Astros team gave up a 796 runs.
That's a lot of runs.
It's a lot of runs. So they went, they're 56 and 106. It's a rough year.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know what that sound means?
It means story time right up in here.
Story time up in here. Well, let's get it. So, when I was looking at this, I was shocked by the number of times this has happened to a relatively small number of teams. So this 10 game streak has happened 77 times in history to only 15 franchises.
Okay.
Half the teams have never even done this. This has been done by 21 unique teams, though. So maybe like the Astros did it twice in one season, and 5 times over different seasons.
Okay.
And the record-setting team in this regard is the Cleveland Indians from 2017. Now the Guardians, but at that time the Cleveland Indians had an overall span of 24 games where they held a positive home run to runs allowed ratio.
Jeez.
Which bonkers. That team, of course, won many games.
Yeah. I was looking at, so I don't know why I like to look at the flip side of this kind of thing in terms of home runs in particular. So we mentioned earlier the 2019 Twins hold the largest number of home runs in a season with 307. So I looked back at each team and their record number of home runs for their franchise history. And it sort of gave some insight as to why they've struggled. The Pittsburgh Pirates are at the bottom of this list at 171 home runs is their season record, which trails the next closest team, the Kansas City Royals, by a full 22 home runs over the course of a season. Pirates, if you're a Pirates fan, we know your pain. Took 20 plus years, about right at 20 years to make a playoff. Hit the wild card 3 times, lost 3 in a row, and it's been nothing since. So it's been painful to be a Pirates fan, but your home run output is why.
Well, as Mariners fans, we feel your pain in terms of the playoffs, and
Yeah. And then speaking of the Mariners, 1997 Mariners are about 4th all time in terms of number of home runs. 1997, but they also played in the Homerun and gave up a lot of runs. And what are you gonna do?
You're gonna lose. That's what you're
gonna
gonna
lose. You're gonna do. You're gonna lose. So, well, folks, that's going to do it for us today. A special thanks to Stathead, The Athletic, 3-0 Take. If you have a burning question, comment below. Find us on Twitter. We're going to be back at it tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you then.